Okay, in this video we're going to learn how to use what's called the Quick Select tool, and we're also going to learn how once we make a selection with Quick Select, we can select and mask that selection to refine it. Okay, let's get started. So press W on your keyboard and that will bring up the Quick Select tool, which you see over here, maybe hidden behind the Magic Wand tool. And make sure you got Quick Select selected. You can see the tool properties up above. I've got the size of my Quick Select tool set to 30 pixels, the hardness level set to 100%, spacing 25%. Press escape to get out of that window up there. I'm going to make sure I'm making a new selection, so I have the new selection button pressed up here. Then I just start to click and drag across the jacket, and you'll see it makes some smart decisions about what part of the jacket to select. Okay, I just pressed and released, dragged across the jacket, it selected part of it. I need to add the rest of the selection over here to it, so I'm going to make sure the add to option is selected, or I can press the shift key and I'm going to just keep clicking and dragging, click and drag across the jacket until I have mostly jacket selected, not the wall. Problem is, as you're going to find out, that again, because the wall is very similar in color to the jacket, I'm getting the wall selected here as well. Okay, so if I zoom in a little bit, you're going to see that part of the wall was selected. So I can come in and choose the minus over here and try to unselect the wall, but then I get some of the jacket unselected as well. I can go back to plus, try to choose this edge of the jacket, but again, I'm probably not going to make a perfect selection because of the similarity of colors. So once I get it about as close as I can get it, I'm going to go ahead and choose the Select and Mask button up here at the top in the Tool Properties palette. If I select that, all of a sudden, wow, it looks a lot different. Now yours might not turn red in your version. I have it up here selected in view mode to show what's called the overlay. Let's go through each of these. You can see, depending on what you choose from the view mode, you can get an onion skin, just show the marching ants along the edge, get a red colored overlay on black, on white, black and white, and on layers. For this exercise, I'm going to choose the overlay version, okay, and select that, double click to close that, and you may have it viewing at 100% opacity. You can see the next option down is for the opacity level. I'm going to set that at about 50%. Allows me to see some of the background showing through the red, and the area that is part of the mask is not red, okay. And you can determine that here. It says here that the color red indicates the masked areas. So the red area is the mask. All right. Now that I have that selected, I'm going to come over and see that there's several tools over on the far left. Okay. And the top one is allowing me to just make a selection, which I've already done that, so I don't want to choose that. The next one down is the Refine Edge Brush, a little bit more complicated. We're just going to choose the third one down. Okay, and what this one does is just simply let me use a brush tool to refine this edge. And so what I can do is anywhere I want to add to the mask, I can have the plus symbol selected here, and I can click in here, and you can see adding to the masked area, which is the jacket here, by just slowly clicking and dragging and dragging across these red areas. And as I do so, they disappear. And so I can refine my selection, okay, by using this method. Now I went a little too far there, so I'm going to go back, choose the minus. Minus will allow me to remove the red color, remove the mask, which is adding the red color. It's a little opposite what you think, okay. And I'm just going to go through here and do this process. Again, I've got the third tool down selected over here on the far left, and I'm using minus, and minus is removing mask. Okay, sorry, I want to choose plus and add to the mask, so that by adding to the mask I'm seeing more of the jacket and I'm removing the red color. Okay, go down a little further. This whole area here is actually part of the wall. I'm going to minus the mask there. Now if the brush that you're painting with is a little too small, mine is, it's taking too long, I'm going to come in here and just increase the size of that brush a little bit. I pull it over here, oh yeah, that's better. So, and I can come in here and go a little faster. Now the program tends to run a little slow because there's a lot going on here, so you have to go slow and make your adjustments very carefully. Okay, and then when you're done, you release. I'm just clicking and dragging into the areas, painting as if I'm painting with a red brush. Okay, again, plus I can add back into the mask if I take away too much. You have to kind of play with it until you get the and start to understand how it works. Okay, and I want to add some of this area back into the mask because that's part of the jacket. Okay, I'm just going to go through here and make a really careful selection when I feel like I have it done pretty well. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and save the selection. There's other things you can play around here, the smoothness of the selection, whether or not the edge of your selection is feathered or contrasted, and you can play around with those settings to see what they do to your selection. But when you're all done, oh, also, if you press the H key, you can move your hand, as we saw in a previous lesson. It gives you the hand tool and allows you to zoom out and then select the area you want to zoom in, release the mouse, and goes in there, and you can go back to other areas and just continue your process. Again, adding some more things down in here. Try to get your selection perfect. As I've said before, the better the selection, the better results you're going to get overall. Maybe make the brush a little smaller so I can move in here into this really narrow area and make a really careful selection. I think it's looking pretty good. Control 0 will allow you to zoom out so you can see the whole thing and see what it looks like. And if you're happy with it, then down here you're going to see the OK button. Okay, before we do that, it's going to say right here, output to, and you have the option to output to a new layer mask, a new layer, etc. We're just going to output to a selection, which will mean, I'll show you here, when you click OK, it's just going to output it, and you're just going to see the selection, which is your marching ants. Okay, but now you've refined that selection so that it's done a much better job of choosing just the part of the jacket you want. When you're done with that, we're going to come in here and do a hue and saturation adjustment layer by clicking that. It automatically creates a black and white mask right above your background layer. We're going to turn on the colorize option, okay, of that, which allows us to provide a nice colorization to that layer, to that selection. And then I'm going to make it so that the jacket's nice, vibrant, saturated blue color for my jacket. Okay, so it looks more like I want it to look. And you can adjust saturation levels, color hue levels, lightness levels to whatever you think looks good. Okay, and when you're done, you can close that property window for hue and saturation, and you're done. Okay, and when you're ready with that, you can go ahead and export this to a JPEG, and you're finished. Good job.